Welcome to the Plant Trainers Podcast, where we're helping people improve their quality of life through nutrition and fitness. And now, your hosts, nutrition and wellness coaches, international speakers, Adam and Shoshana Chaim.
Hey, I'm Adam Chaim.
And I'm Shoshana Chaim, and we are
Propelled by Plants. Today we bring to you episode 500, celebrating 500 podcast episodes with us.
Woohoo! In this episode of the Plant Trainers Podcast, we're talking with us, Adam and Shoshana Chaim, all about the last 10 years and 500 podcast episodes. Absolutely amazing. When we say, hey, I'm Shoshana Chaim and I'm Adam Chaim, we actually do that fresh each time. I just messed up the 500th episode. We had to re-record that. But we have had ups and downs over the last 10 years, 500 podcasts of podcasting, like scrambling for recordings the night before or forgetting to hit record and having to redo it. We've won awards and number one spots, but at the end of the day, it comes down to the relationships that we've built with our podcast guests and our audience. So we're going to share some of those wins with you. We're going to share some of our achievements in podcasting and personal achievements that we've had over the last 500 episodes and 10 years of podcasting.
And don't forget, you want to listen to the end of this show because we have a special tangible giveaway for only 5 of our audience members. So if you are someone who is challenged with any pain, illness from sports or everyday life, you want to make sure to stick around to the end for that giveaway. Enjoy the show, and thanks for being here for episode number 500.
Hey guys, guess what? I have a new book coming soon. It's called I Am a Courageous Cub. So for those of you that gave me support with I Am a Peaceful Goldfish, thank you so much. You can get I Am a Courageous Cub right now by pre-ordering it on Amazon or checking out the link in our show notes at planttrainers.com.
And now for a moment of gratitude.
I'm grateful for the show, for the friends that it's brought me, for the time we've been able to spend together, and to be able to hopefully make a change in some of your lives.
I am also grateful for episode 500. Can you believe it's been 10 years of podcasting, and just grateful for all the connections that we made through this whole 10-year journey done. All right, let's do this. Here we go. 500.
500th episode. All right. So I know that there's so many people starting out with podcasts right now, and they're hustling. They're trying to get it done. They're doing it in different ways. And they look at 500 episodes, they look at 10 years, and it's like, wow. And I kind of look back on it and think, oh, we just started yesterday. But then I also feel like, oh my God, we've been podcasting for so long.
Well, I remember when we started, you didn't even want to do it, and then we finally got it going.
It should be 11 years. It took you a year to get me to do it.
It should be, but back then, podcasting wasn't even a big thing, and it's really grown a lot since we've begun, and there's a lot more shows and a lot more out there for people to listen to, so we're grateful for all of you who are actually tuning into our small show and still getting some benefit from it.
Definitely. So let's talk about, 500. How did we get here? What are some of the tips that made us grow to the point where we could show up for the podcast all the time? I think you're an A-type personality. You're really consistent, and you always kind of made sure that we were putting out a show when we said we were.
Well, I think that's one of the successes that you need to have for any achievement that you're going to be able to accomplish, because if you're not consistent, it makes it more difficult for you to be able to get to where you want to go. So the same with training or eating or whatever you relate that to. Podcasting for us was something that we needed to show up for, we needed to be present for, we needed to do it regularly, and we needed to be here.
Yeah, and we didn't do seasons. We just went straight. So it was, if we were doing one a week for the year, it was every single week of that year. And if we didn't record a new one, we were pulling back old ones that we thought were getting lost, or we were doing some shorts. But no matter what, on the day that people were expecting it to go out, it went out 100%. I know some people do it in seasons, so they'll do, 5 months at a time and then another 5 months at a time and take off a month in between. And if that's what you're going to do, keep that consistent too.
I mean, we broke consistency a little bit. I mean, we went for several years, we did it every week, and then we went to twice a week. And then that became too much for us.
But I don't
So
think we broke
adjusted.
consistency, because we did that for a couple of years, and then we
Yeah.
did two a week for a year or two. So
Yeah, and then we scaled back to once a week again, and then we scaled back to once every 2 weeks, which is, I think, where we are now and where we found a new comfort zone for ourselves.
definitely. And in doing that, there were times where we were struggling, like, oh, what's the next podcast going to be, or who's the next guest going to be, and we
Or
kind of
what's
had
the next topic going to be? What's a hot topic of the week?
right. And now when it's every 2 weeks, it's kind of like, oh my God, we have so many good guests that want to talk about meditation, but it's not a meditation podcast per se. So we have to kind of pick and choose and say no to people so much more who we want to actually have on. I mean, we're saying no to people I can't even tell you how many emails we get. We're saying no to people all the time, but we've made amazing friends and had amazing guests on. And if you guys have particular guests that you want to hear from, please reach out at info@planttrainers.com or send us something over at Plant Trainers on Instagram. We will try to get them on. Do you want to talk about some of the notable guests that we've had?
I mean, this podcast has really allowed us to connect with amazing people that we never really thought was possible. I mean, you watch a documentary, you watch a movie, and you see these people on TV, and then, or you read their books even, and then to be able to have them on the show and speak to them is unbelievable, or get together with them in person is incredible. I mean, we've had the pleasure of having Dr. Esselstyn, Dr. Campbell, Dr. Greger on the show. We went for dinner with Rich Roll, and we had him on the show with his wife, Julie.
That was a hard dinner because
it was very early on.
It was very early on, but he was so popular already. Yeah. We kept getting interrupted at the table. People kept coming up to us. And Dr. Esselstyn was amazing. So they have their family place where they do some retreats down at the Knob. And when I go down there, I feel like a queen. I'm treating them like royalty. When I treat them like they're my royalty. But when I said to Dr. Esselstyn, hey, can we have you on the podcast? He's like, sure, call me tomorrow night. We'll do it. And I'm like, what? Like, I don't even know if I'm free, but I'm going to make myself free. So we did it by telephone with him. That was probably one of our only telephone ones.
Yeah, and through the show, we've also been able to go to different health fests and veg fests and speak on stages with some amazing people like Dr. Garth Davis and Brenda Davis and Chef AJ. That's been a lot of fun, and we've had Chef AJ on the show multiple times, and
vice versa. So many more. Been on her show.
Yeah, there's so many others that we could name, but I think it would just go on forever. And if there's anyone that I'm missing, I mean, there's tons, right? I mean, 500th episode, of course, there's been tons.
We've had tons of big names, but also
incredible stories from people that our audience never heard of.
Right. And that's what I was going to say, is that sometimes it's just as or more impactful hearing from people who don't have a big social media presence, who aren't necessarily talking about the science so much, but sharing their experiences. And that's what's kept a lot of you going over the years. So that has been absolutely amazing too. Yeah.
During these 10 years, we've done a lot of things.
We have.
I mean, what are some of the accomplishments that you've had over the last 10 years while we've been podcasting?
So I had ups and downs with my own health and was able to find answers for my own health, and then have tools to help other clients who were already plant-based, were already doing all the things, but weren't getting the results that they needed, and be able to offer that to them. So that's been absolutely amazing. I'm a published author now. So we became self-published authors with our Yummy Foods activity book for kids. I almost forgot the name, but having I'm a Peaceful Goldfish published, having that go #1, and now having I'm a Courageous Cub come out for pre-sale, and it's available in September. So that has been absolutely amazing for me. I won free trips to Croatia, and those had to be canceled because of COVID, but I was able to manifest, and you were able to have a little bit to do with that. Still getting to Croatia, which was definitely on my list of things to do, my bucket list. So that was huge. And just the amount of clients that I've been able to help over the years, with Hashimoto's, lupus, cancer, all of those things just coming back like with the most amazing results from their doctors have been great. And I started playing catch ball, which I absolutely love. The family likes to make fun of me for, but I love playing catchball. We go on tournaments. It's great sisterhood, and it keeps me active.
People may not know what catchball is, and we don't make fun of you, by the way.
Well, you make it very clear it's not volleyball.
Well, it's not volleyball.
Right. Picture volleyball, but you're throwing and catching the ball, but not just like up in the air like a rainbow. Like we're spiking it and we're tricking people, and you got your 2 steps where you could pull them across the net. It's super fun.
It's nuke and ball.
On steroids.
Yeah, okay.
On steroids. All right. Okay. And so what are some of the achievements you've had? Going to take a little break because I don't know if you are a parent, if you have a kid in your life that you love, if you know somebody who's bringing a kid into the world. My new book, I Am a Courageous Cub, is perfect because sometimes it's easy to feel discouraged, anxious, or scared. But when that happens, little kids moving their body and using their imagination can really get their confidence going, can get them trying new things, and can get them to be courageous. And you know what? I know some adults who need to be extra courageous too. So if we could get little kids practicing those skills as young ones, they'll be better at it when they're old ones. So please head over to Amazon or the link in our show notes at plantrainers.com and pre-order I Am a Courageous Cub right now. It's my second book, and I'm super excited to share it with you all. Thank you so much for your support. And now back to the show. What are some of the achievements you've had?
10 years ago, I did my first Ironman triathlon, and that was pretty huge. That was a huge commitment, a lot of training, and wow. It's already been 10 years, kind of crazy. And then I did another one a few years later. I've been doing a lot of half marathons. I went through 21 weekends of 21 half marathons straight.
Wow.
A lot of little things like that I don't mention, but personal little records, that I've done. I've been coaching a lot of volleyball and winning championships with the high school and doing some volunteer work with Habitat for Humanity and just a lot of things. A lot going on.
You're also an amazing dad. I think that, we've one of the biggest achievements we've had in the last 10 years is that our kids are 10 years older. They're somewhat adjusted. We have really good kids. At the end of the day, we have really good kids with really good hearts. They've both gone through their own ups and downs over the past couple of years, especially with, COVID in Canada and all of that. And there are some days where I wonder what they're thinking and I wonder what we were doing as parents, but most of the days they are really good kids and we've done a good job. You've done a great job.
Yeah, it's hard. You've done a great job too. And parenting is probably the most difficult job there is, and all kids should come with an instruction book or a manual, and they don't because everyone is different. It's very difficult to manage, and we got to learn as we go.
Yeah, and got to learn to. What I've learned is that there's certain things that even though you don't want to, you have to learn to let go to be able to take steps forward again and not move so far backwards. And that's something I'm still learning. So changing the subject a little bit, back to the achievements that we've had, what are some of the techniques that you use to be able to achieve these goals? Like, do you set out to do them? Or do you know what you're doing? Like, you have a couple of techniques, I have a couple of techniques. Do you realize that you know what they are?
When I decide to do something, I just know that I'm doing it. I'm very black and white that way. So once I've decided I have a goal, so when I knew I wanted to do the half marathons, I just made it a point to put it in my schedule and make sure that it got done. And obviously that's just the mindset that I have. And that's a difficult one for a lot of people to get to, but it takes practice and hard work and commitment and dedication and belief in yourself. And those are some of the strategies that I focus on.
You also have your mantra.
Yes, I am strong and determined and I can do anything I choose to do. Yeah. And I tell myself that all the time. What do you do?
So for me, I'm kind of the opposite of you. I'm a little bit less organized. I make goals and forget what they were and then come back to them and change them up a lot. So for me, writing it down and having it in front of my face is really important. So I use a dry erase marker on my mirror in the bathroom so that I can write down some of my goals there so that I can say them over again. Sometimes they're like goals and sometimes they're like mantras. So I remind myself that I'm strong, that I'm smart, that I'm capable, that my achievements and goals will come true. And I write down what some of those are and I revisit them. And I need to break things down as well. So I look at what is my end goal, what are the bigger things that I need to do to get there, and what are the daily tasks to get there too. And I put a lot of reminders into my calendar, and I'm not always good at showing up for the inside, like for the sandwich stuff. If I have a client, I'm there. If I have a meeting, I'm there. If I need to be somewhere, I'm there. But when the paperwork needs to be done, I don't always know where I am. So I need to keep myself on task for that. Mm-hmm. That's something that I'm working on. I think some other people could probably relate. Not you.
Yeah,
so much.
And we have a lot of us have things, we all have things that we need to work on, and we continue to do that to make sure that we become the best we possibly can become in anything that we do. And that's what we're working towards. So where do we go from here? What's happening next for us?
So we're continuing to bring you amazing podcasts. We would love to hear from you more. So there's 2 ways to do that. Head over to our Instagram at Plant Trainers, comment, like, talk to us in the DMs, because we want to know that you're here and that you're learning from this and that you're getting something out of it. Because after 500 episodes, if you guys aren't, then we're not doing something right. And we either need to be doing it right or not doing it at all. So please reach out to us at info@planttrainers.com or on our Instagram at Plant Trainers so that we can continue having the conversation. And if there are people who you'd like to see on the podcast, definitely either introduce us to them or ask us, and we will try to make that happen.
The other thing I'll say is that, yes, this is episode 500, and if you're listening through Apple Podcasts, they only list the last 300, which means you've missed a couple hundred of our episodes. And if you ever want to go back and find some of them, you can go to our website at planttrainers.com, and there's a search bar on the top right, or in the menu bar, you could just click podcasts, and it'll just give you our full archive of podcasts, and you can get to any of those 500 that you want. So they're all there. You just got to know where to find them.
All right. And I want to do a little bit of a giveaway. So hopefully you've listened to the end, but if you are experiencing any pain in your body, I am going to give a $50 value redox gel to the first 5 people that email or DM us. So info@planttrainers.com or over at Plant Trainers on Instagram. I'm going to send that to you free of charge. I'm going to give you some coaching in using it. So when it shows up, we're going to get on a Zoom. We're going to use it together. That's the only stipulation I have there. But I want to do that and give that away.
That's really awesome. That's so nice of you to be able to give that away and help out some of our audience. So hope you enjoyed the show, and thank you for being here once again. And we look forward to having you back for 501.
Woo! Thank you all so much for listening to this edition of the Plant Trainers podcast. We want to make sure that you subscribe on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Stitcher, or any other podcasting platform.
We really appreciate the feedback we receive from you. Every time we get a 5-star rating or review on iTunes from one of our fans, it really helps other people find us just like you did.
Thanks so much to our patrons. To become a patron, visit us at patreon.com/planttrainers. Even supporting us with $1 really makes a difference in the quality of the show.
And don't forget to connect with us on Instagram and Twitter. Our handle is @PlantTrainers. Like Plant Trainers on Facebook, join our newsletter, and check out our website at planttrainers.com for awesome recipes, a list of our services, and of course, our latest podcast.
We encourage you to email your questions to info@planttrainers.com so that we can help you improve your quality of life through nutrition and fitness.
So we hope we've inspired you today. Join us again next time and have a healthy day. Or is that too corny?
It's a little cheesy.